Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed since last time. Taliban tries and fails to assassinate 15-year-old girl. Malala Yousufzai, a 15-year-old girl from the Swat Valley in Pakistan, was shot 2 weeks ago along with 2 other girls by a masked member of the Taliban. Malala survived and she was eventually transported to a hospital in England where she is now recovering. Malala's crime was going to school and advocating for girls' education against the demands of the Taliban. I don't know what I find more pathetic, that the Taliban would assassinate a 15-year-old girl, or that the Taliban would try and fail to assassinate a 15-year-old girl and still go on to crow about it and promise further retribution against her and her family. A representative of the Taliban claimed that Malala was targeted because she is a symbol of obscenity. So, just to recap here, young girls pursuing their education, obscene. Masked cowards attempting to murder young girls for pursuing their education, sacred duty discharged to the glory of Allah. Just so we're clear on that. Get well soon, Malala. Science full of lies straight from the pit of hell, says Republican congressman. U.S. Representative Paul Brown, Republican from Georgia, gave a speech last month where he declared, quote, "All that stuff I was taught about evolution, embryology, Big Bang theory, all that is lies straight from the pit of hell." And then he goes on in the same speech to declare himself a young earth creationist and a biblical literalist. You know, it's bad enough that morons like this are even in Congress, but making things a bit more depressing in this instance is the fact that Paul Brown is a doctor. A doctor who rejects embryology. A doctor who rejects embryology and sits on the House Science Committee. And hey, you know who else sits on the House Science Committee with Dr. Paul Brown? Todd Akin. Yeah, remember him? The guy who thinks that women who don't spontaneously self-abort rape pregnancies must be lying about being raped. Yeah, that guy. He's on the House Science Committee too, as a part of the Republican majority. Oh. Paul Ryan pretends to volunteer at soup kitchen. Actually, this one kind of cheered me up. Did you hear about this? Republican vice presidential candidate Paul Ryan stopped by a soup kitchen in Youngstown, Ohio with his wife and kids, put on an apron, and proceeded to pretend to wash dishes while photographers snapped pictures. See, the soup kitchen had already served its food for the day, and the actual volunteers had cleaned everything up by the time Ryan got there. But he didn't let that stop him, and you know what? Why should he have? I mean, sure, that soup pot might have looked clean, but have you seen the people that work at these soup kitchens? Most of them are just as poor as the beggars they serve. You really want to trust people like that to do your dishes? Whatever. Anyway, the point is, Paul Ryan is a pathetic, pandering phony. Why did that cheer me up again? As long as I've mentioned something about Ryan, I might as well say something about the other guy on the ticket, because holy shit, is Mitt Romney an obnoxious prick or what? Did you see that second debate? Romney trotted out the same act that everybody loved in the first debate, but this time there were 2 key differences. First, in contrast to that first debate, President Obama chose to participate, and second, this debate had a moderator. As a result of those 2 changes, Romney's act came across not as engaged and energetic, but as presumptuous and obstreperous. I mean, it's one thing to take the last word for yourself over the non-objections of Jim Lehrer, but when Candy Crowley is having to repeatedly tell you that it's not your fucking turn to talk, you should probably dial it back a bit, because you're being a dick. The Boy Scouts protected kid touchers too. Last week, the New York Times reported on documents made public detailing allegations of sexual abuse against over 1,200 scout leaders in the Boy Scouts of America. The documents contain details about allegations being downplayed or outright ignored, parents being patted on the head, told not to worry, or in some cases not told at all that scout leaders were suspected pedophiles, and officials choosing to protect the reputation of the organization rather than the children it supposedly was founded to serve. Sound familiar? Of course, apologists for the BSA will say that they've instituted reforms in how they handle sexual abuse allegations, and that despite the number of allegations contained in the over 15,000 pages of documents released, the Boy Scouts are not now and have never been a haven for pedophiles. I mean, come on, they're scout leaders, not priests, for fuck's sake. But to those who protect child rapists, and to those who make excuses for those who protect child rapists, I can only offer my own version of the traditional Boy Scout three-finger salute. See, I wanted to save you the trouble of reading between the lines. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.